Everybody ready? Good evening. We will call the Auburn City Council meeting for Monday, April 3rd, 2023 to order. We will begin with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the federally recognized Muckleshoot Indian Tribe, the ancestral keepers of the land we are gathered on today. We thank them for their immense contributions to our state and local history, culture, economy, and identity as Washingtonians. Tonight, for public participation, the Auburn City Council meeting will be held both in person and virtually. Now, if you would all please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. May be seated. And Hannah, if you will please call roll.
Deputy Mayor Jayraj.
Excused.
Councilmember Baggett.
Here.
Councilmember Baldwin.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Malinga.
Here.
Councilmember Rakes.
Here.
Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
Here.
Okay, and I have some proclamations that I am going to go up to the podium for. And our first proclamation this evening is for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I believe we have someone via Zoom tonight. Is that correct?
That is correct.
We see her. She's on. She just came on. Yeah. Thank you. All right. I believe this is Cindy. Is this Cindy?
This is Laurel.
Laurel. All right. Well, welcome, Laurel. I'll read the proclamation, and then if you have any words you would like to share, you are welcome to do so. Right. Mayor's proclamation. Whereas in Washington State, 45% of women and 22% of men report having experienced sexual violence in their lifetime. And whereas transgender and gender non-binary people are at even greater risk, 29% of the survivors who were supported by community sexual assault organizations statewide identified as Black, Indigenous, and people of color in 2019. And of those identifying ethnicity, 21% identified as Latinx, Hispanic. And whereas rape is among the most underreported crimes for many reasons, including victims' fear of being disbelieved or further traumatized within the legal system. Additional barriers such as language, immigration status, gender bias, and systemic racism further oppress and silence victims. And whereas individual and community impacts of sexual violence are rooted in and compounded by racism, sexism, heterosexism, and other forms of oppression. Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, people living in poverty, LGBTQ+ people, elders, people with disabilities, and other people targeted by oppression are disproportionately affected by sexual violence in significant and complex ways. And whereas sexual violence exists on a continuum of behavior and includes racist, sexist, transphobic, homophobic, ableist, or other hate speech. This ranges from rape jokes to verbal harassment to threats of rape and assault. Harassing comments and behaviors that take place online can and do traumatize victims, and their impact should not be minimized. And whereas 41% of Americans have been personally subjected to harassing behavior online, and people from historically oppressed groups are more likely to experience online harassment, mirroring inequities we see elsewhere in society. And whereas working together as a community, we can alleviate the trauma of sexual violence by ensuring supportive resources are available to all survivors while standing up to and actively disrupting harmful attitudes and behaviors that contribute to sexual violence. Now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of the City of Auburn, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month in the City of Auburn and urge all residents to join advocates and communities throughout King County in taking action to prevent sexual violence by standing with survivors. Together, we commit to a safer future for all children, young people, adults, and families in our community, dated this third day of April 2023. Laurel?
Thank you, Mayor Backus. That was wonderful, and we so appreciate your and members of the council for standing up to sexual violence, being part of the solution, just by opening a dialogue and just by talking about it. I wish I could be there in person, but thank you for allowing me to speak virtually. Really quickly, I just want to say a word about the intersectionality of our work with another very vexing issue in the city and across the region, which is homelessness. We can all certainly understand how experiencing homelessness would make someone more vulnerable to sexual assault and exploitation, and it would make them less likely to be believed and taken seriously when they do report. But sexual assault and abuse is also a cause of homelessness, and that's something I just want to touch on. Young people are the age group most at risk of sexual assault, and that abuse frequently happens in the home. We often assist young people who are experiencing homelessness, especially young people who are LGBTQ, who have left abusive homes and now they face more risk. So tonight, what you're doing by talking about this is you're helping increase awareness about these issues, these connected issues, and we so appreciate your willingness to talk about it. First of all, you're telling survivors of sexual assault that they count, they're not alone, their story matters. And you're also sending an important message to the whole community that they need to hear, which is that we can prevent sexual violence, and it takes everyone's involvement. So we really appreciate your leadership, and thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you, Laurel, and thank you for your work. Truly appreciate it. All right, moving on. Next is Arbor Day. Daryl. Filling in for Bryce.
I know.
All right, this mayor's proclamation is for Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas the holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and wherever they are planted, a resource of joy, beauty, and spiritual renewal. And whereas members of the Auburn Garden Club, statewide Washington Community Forestry Council, Department of Natural Resources, and the Auburn Urban Tree Board will join city officials and Auburn Parks, Arts, and Recreation Department employees in planting a red oak tree in Frank Fulmer Park, located at 5th Street Northeast, Auburn, Washington, at 12:30 p.m. in honor of Arbor Day. And now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of the City of Auburn, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2023 as Arbor Day in the City of Auburn and urge our community members to celebrate Arbor Day by supporting efforts to plant and protect trees and woodland areas for the well-being of our community for this and future generations, dated this third day of April 2023. Daryl, what day is it that we are going to be planting that red oak at 12:30 p.m.?
We will be planting it at Fulmer Park on April 12 at 12:30.
Thank you.
So, yeah, and Fulmer Park, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Fulmer Park is located right next to the Auburn School District Administration Building, and one of the reasons we're featuring this park is we just put in an amazing new playground there. And this tree, which grows to about 100 feet, will provide shade for the children's children who are going to be enjoying it on April 12th. So Thanks for your recognition of Arbor Day and also City of Auburn's 20th year as being a Tree City USA.
Excellent. Thank you, and thank you for selecting a tree that's easy to pronounce.
Quartus Elba.
Red oak.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daryl. And now we have National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Do we have anyone? Come on up.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi, Bonnie. It's so good to see you in person. I gotta give you a hug.
Okay, yes.
All right. This is the Mayor's proclamation for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and EMS providers is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, EMS providers, firefighters, and specialty team members depend upon the quality of accuracy of information obtained from citizens who call the Valleycom 911 Emergency Communications Center. And whereas the City of Auburn is served by Valley Communications Center 911, known as Valleycom 911, and whose public safety telecommunicators, PSTs, handle over 647,000 phone calls and over 490,000 dispatchable calls for a service year. That's a lot of calls.
Second to Seattle.
Valleycom 911 PSTs are highly trained professionals who work under a uniquely stressful environment. Valleycom 911 PSTs are the first of the first responders, providing life-saving pre-arrival instructions, triage, mediation, de-escalation, and the calm presence on the phone and radio that is focused on both responder and public safety. And whereas the 911 Saves Act, a bipartisan bill to reclassify 911 PSTs to protective service occupations, is still gaining supporters, and 4 more congresspersons have signed on in the last few days. H.R. 2351 currently has 115 co-sponsors, and we anticipate that will continue to grow. And whereas recognizing our 911 PSTs for the critical role in emergency response cannot and should not wait for the passage of the 911 Saves Act, and believe that these local actions will help support and further similar legislation that 911 PSTs deserve. And whereas the state of Washington has enacted legislation which, in addition to requiring a certification process for 911 telecommunicators, also declares 911 PSTs as first responders. This doesn't change the retirement or benefits, but it does acknowledge the importance of the profession. And now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of the City of Auburn, do hereby proclaim the week of April 9th through the 15th, 2023, as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in the City of Auburn, in honor of our public safety telecommunicators whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and residents safe. Dated this 3rd day of April 2023. Bonnie, it's my honor to give this to you.
Thank you.
And if you have any words that you would like to share about the great work that's done up at Valleycom.
I would. Thank you
Please.
very much. First, I'd like to say what an honor it is and a
Over to the
privilege
microphone a little
to
bit.
be here and be recognized by Mayor Backus, members of the council, and the audience. One of the things that we talk about in 911 is they're the unsung heroes. They're the people that answer the call and the radio no matter what. While they're extraordinary at their job, I want to highlight an incident we had that happened at our 911 center. On February 10th, we had a team member who had the last call of her night and was getting ready to go home. And unfortunately, she went into cardiac arrest. During that call, that time period, our team members jumped into action, started swift and immediate CPR, applied an AED, which is an automated external defibrillator. And while this was all going on, the caller that she was on the call with didn't even recognize a new call receiver got on the line and took over that call. All of this happening while 911 calls came in and radio dispatch needed to be connected to the field units and calls needed to be dispatched. I'm grateful to say that our team member has survived. She's back to work on a limited schedule, and our team members jumped into action. And when I came up that night to see them, I asked them how they were, and they just said, well, we did my job. I was just doing my job. What an extraordinary professional attitude, a humble attitude, just doing your job. Not only did you not stop the link to emergency services from the citizens or the public, it was transparent to everyone, and you continued doing what you need to do while you saved a team member. So it's these folks that are the backbone of public safety. They are that critical link in the chain of survival, and they proved once again they are the best of the best. And I thank you for this honor.
Thank you,
Thank
Bonnie.
you.
Thank you.
I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Auburn is one of the owners of Valleycom, along with Tukwila, Kent, Federal Way, and Renton. And we have monthly board meetings, and many of them aren't in person anymore, but I can tell you that the caliber of the individuals that work at Valleycom is, as Bonnie said, second to none. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity or the unfortunate opportunity to be calling 911. But if you're calling 911 in this area, it's very fortunate that you will have one of our dispatchers or call receivers that answers that call when you are in dire need. So you are the first of the first responders, and I am so very proud that we are associated. And last but certainly not least is Sikh Heritage Month, and I believe we have several people in the audience who would like to join us tonight. The newest member. Oh my gosh, hi. Thank you. You've grown so much. You gonna put on mommy's lipstick? Yeah. Ooh, careful. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Mayor's Proclamation. Whereas the City of Auburn recognizes and acknowledges the holiest Sikh holiday, Vaisakhi, on April 14th, 2023, as National Sikh Day, and the month of April as National Sikh Heritage Month. Whereas Sikhism is a religion founded in the Punjab region of South Asia over 5 centuries ago and introduced to the United States in the 19th century. And whereas Sikhism is the 5th largest world religion with approximately 30 million Sikhs worldwide, including over 1 million living in the United States. And whereas Sikhs in the United States pursue diverse professions and walks of life, making rich contributions to the economic vibrancy of the United States as farmers, engineers, doctors, scientists, business owners, and elected officials. And whereas Vaisakhi is one of the most religiously significant days in Sikh history, commemorating the creation of the Khalsa, a fellowship of devout Sikhs by Guru Gobind Singh in 1699. And whereas today the City of Auburn seeks to recognize the diversity of its community and afford all residents the opportunity to better understand, recognize, and appreciate the rich history and shared experiences. Now, therefore, I, Nancy Backus, Mayor of Auburn, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as National Sikh Heritage Month in the City of Auburn, and we wish our Sikh American community a very joyous Vaisakhi filled with celebration. Dated this 3rd day of April, 2023. Who would like to speak?
She will speak.
Yes,
He will take
whoever.
it.
I just want to say thank you so much, Mayor and council members. I think we've been doing this for 7 or 8 years now.
Yes.
So I really appreciate you recognizing Sikhs, and I just want to keep in mind the atrocities that our Sikh youth is facing in India right now. If anyone's keeping up with the news, there's a lot of devastation happening with our youth. And along that lines, if anybody wants to learn about Sikhs or want to celebrate with us, there is a celebration happening at Shower Center on May 27th. And it's beautifully organized with a lot of culture, a lot of learning, a lot of prayers, and it's an amazing celebration that happens in Kent. So, and thank you so much.
Thank
and I'll
you.
have one goes
Just want to add, there's a celebration on April 15th in Federal Way, the Weyerhaeuser campus too. So please come there.
Thank you very much for having us, and let us say a few words about the Punjabi community in Punjab, India, where you may haven't heard about it, what is going on there. There's a lot of thousands of Sikh youth are being arrested by police without any warrant, and they're kept in the jail for days without producing to the judge. And we are having a day in Olympia, I think April 14th, where on the House floor it would be discussed what is happening. Human rights violations are occurring all over India, especially in Punjab. So I would like to thank you, each and everyone, for listening to us. And we look like outsider, but we're part of the community. And we've been here centuries. My father came to this country in 1910. Then he went back in 1946. Then I came in 1967. So, you know, it's a lot of people take us as a mistaken identity. But we are Sikhs. We're nobody else. We're Sikhs, proud to be Sikh. Thank you very much, all the council and the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, next on the agenda is a presentation by your very own Auburn Junior City Council, and they will provide to us a report on their activities and goals.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and our good partners, Dana, Brenda, and Keisha. My name is Waylon Menzia, and I'm proud to be the chair of our very own Junior City Council here in the city of Auburn. Here tonight with me are Jonathan, Briseda, and Janine, who you will hear from momentarily. It has truly been an honor to serve as the chair of the Auburn Junior City Council for the last 3 years, bringing my total service on the Junior City Council to 5 years. Every moment I've served on council has been a moment dedicated to service and progress. I remember when we struggled to recruit and maintain membership on the AJCC. Now, every seat on the dais is filled with incredible young folks ready to do great work moving our community forward.
Hi, as Waylon said, my name is Jonathan Malenga. I am the vice chair of the Auburn Junior City Council and have served on the council for nearly 5 years as well. Last year was the most productive year our council has had since the pandemic began. We have worked hard to recruit young people ready to get to work serving our city. We started, of course, with the 4 of us here today, quickly growing to 7 members, and we are continuing our efforts to bring diverse voices to the table. We are currently working on finishing the framework and recruitment for our advisory board that will consist of 2 members from every high school and middle school in Auburn to make sure that we are in tune and up to date on all the issues facing our young Auburn residents.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Briseda Sandate, and I have been serving on the Auburn Junior City Council for almost 4 years. Recently, we all traveled to the National League of Cities Congressional Cities Conference. If you were on Instagram last week, you might have seen our takeover. We posted our experience. We got to attend interesting forums where we heard from young leaders nationwide and what they were doing in their cities to make impacts community-wide. From transportation to getting elected, young people from every corner of the U.S. are making impacts felt everywhere. We didn't miss out on the sights in D.C. either. We got to visit multiple historic landmarks and tour the cityscape that is our nation's capital. I enjoyed being able to attend the conference as a young Mexican-American woman and being able to represent my community and who we are. I look forward to the next generation of junior council members going to just have the same experience next year.
Hello, my name is Janine Park, and I've been serving on the Junior City Council for almost 4 years as well. First, I want to express my deepest gratitude to our council members and Mayor Backus for giving us this incredible opportunity to go to NLC. The magnitude of city leaders who came together was truly inspiring, and I would truly cherish this special experience. Being a part of the Junior City Council has helped me grow and learn about the diverse issues that not only young people, but all of our city residents face. We have got to learn so much while serving on AGCC. Thank you to the Deputy Mayor for keeping us informed at every meeting. telling us about the great things that are happening in our city. From learning about our city's communications from Jonathan Glover to working closely with our Director of Administration, Dana Hinman, I truly have enjoyed getting to know how our city functions. As us four prepare to graduate, I really wanted to extend my many thanks and gratitude to the mayor and council for their continued support for young people across Auburn.
I cannot agree more with what my fellow junior city council members have said tonight. I look forward to the continued work in our last few months here serving on the junior city council. Though this may be the last time we present to you as junior city council members, we know the impact of our work will have lasting positive effects on generations of young people to come. We look forward to building lasting relationships within our community and making sure that young leaders have every opportunity available to them to make lasting changes in the community that we call home.
As we are dealing with the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, we are working on regrowing our connections that have been lost during the most difficult time many of us have faced. The Auburn Youth Council is currently rebuilding its community service-based organization, and we are looking forward to working with them every step of the way. We know that service looks different for everyone, and we are committed to making sure that the relationships we have provide every avenue for success for young people like us and not like us. I have enjoyed learning and growing with everyone here tonight over my years of service. We are leaders, and I look forward to carrying that leadership with me everywhere I go.
Since my freshman year of high school, I've got to know everyone with me here tonight. Our conversations after every junior council meeting make me look forward to getting updated on what is happening in everyone's life. We share stories and events about our life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. With that, we are able to help navigate the increasingly difficult reality of being young. Each of us are vastly different people, and that has helped me grow to understand the different circumstances many young people in our city face. These leadership skills have helped me grow and will help me continue to that growth wherever I go. Going forward.
From the parades to the state of the city, I know all of us here enjoy representing Auburn's young people wherever we go. Even though a few dessert tables may have been lost and we may not always be able to hold in our laugh. See, now I'm getting lost. We are serious about making sure our city is there to lift young people up every step of the way. I will carry every one of my experiences serving the city with me for the rest of my life. Even though my time on Junior City Council is coming to a close, my service to the community we cherish and love is not. We are building young leaders here in Auburn, and I'm proud to be one of them. Thank you all for the many great years serving young people in Auburn. I know this work will never stop, and we are so grateful for your continued support. All of us would be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so proud, but I'm so sad at the same time, seeing your growth, not just physically, because when you first started, y'all were shorter than I am. And that's not the case any longer. But you have grown in so many ways. You have represented our city so incredibly well. You are going off on life adventures that many can only dream of. And I hope that each of you comes back to the city that we love and shows your leadership here. Go off, do what you need to do, but our city needs you to come back as truly adult leaders. We're only caretakers for this community right now. This is your city. You own this city. We will take care of it until you come back. And we hope that each of you finds a spot on this dais in the future. And I know that with leadership like you, we are in very, very good hands. And I just want to say thank you so much and how much I appreciate everything that you have done. These young people, I can assure you, are the best of the best in our community, but there are so many wonderful young people in our community. We often hear about the bad things going on, and we can all name several things that have gone on in this community that we would prefer didn't happen. But when you see young people like this engaged, caring, compassionate, wanting to make a difference. We have to keep that in mind as well. We cannot focus only on the negative, but we must focus on the positive and admire and encourage and nurture goodness like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Council, any questions? Councilmember Trout-Manuel?
I don't have a question, but I also want to echo what the mayor said about Waylon. I saw you sitting right there in the front row from 7th grade up to where you're at now, and I am just so proud to see the young man that you are growing into, and also Jonathan. You know, to see you come up to where you're at as well. I'm so proud of all of you, and as the mayor said, we need you here when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Malinga.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to echo what everyone else has said here. These students are not only just leaders here, where we see them here, but out in the community, I've also seen the leadership. I hung with them at the NLC conference, and they were great examples for our community, to the other students and to the other mayors and council members that were there. So I just want to thank you guys for that leadership, not only internally in our city, but out too. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for a great report as well. All right, we will move on to appointments. First, appointment to the Human Services Commission. City Council to approve the appointment of David Wright and Adriel Foxley to the Human Services Commission for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2025. Is there a motion? Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of David Wright and Adriel Foxley to the Human Services Commission for a 3-year term expiring December 31st, 2020, December 31st, 2025.
Yeah. Kendra, can I just ask, whoops, yeah, there we go. Never mind. I was looking in 2 different places. All right. Is there a second? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
As always, it's really nice to see volunteers step forward and apply for these committees because they're very much well needed, and having their voice and their input also is very much needed. So thank you.
Thank you. Council, any questions or comments? Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just add that I'm very excited to welcome both of these individuals to the Human Services Committee, in part because they're also both graduates of the 2022 Civics Academy that's offered through the City of Auburn. For others, the Civics Academy is a great opportunity to understand what our different boards and commissions do, and for folks out there who would ever be interested, I would welcome applications in the future.
Yes. All you need to do is look on our website, auburnwa.gov, and when the openings for, the Civics Academy come open, it fills quickly, so I encourage you to apply. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor of the appointment of David Wright and Adriel Foxley to the Human Services Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Appointment to the Salary Commission. City Council to approve the appointment of Catherine Murray to the Salary Commission for a 4-year term expiring December 31st, 2026. Is there a motion? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to move the appointment for Catherine Murray to the Salary Commission for a 4-year term to expire December 31st, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Baldwin.
I would second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Once again, we're blessed in this community to have residents, citizens to step up and serve this city and help guide our future.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of the appointment of Catherine Murray to the Salary Commission, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Hannah, I don't believe we have any agenda modifications this evening, do we? No, just that addition of the proclamation. Thank you. All right, we will move to audience participation. This is the place on the agenda where the public is invited to speak to the City Council on any issue. The public can participate in person or submit written comments in advance. They may submit written comments via mail, fax, or email. All written comments must be received prior to 5 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting and must be 350 words or less. Please mail written comments to City of Auburn, attention Sean Campbell, City Clerk, 25 West Main Street, Auburn, Washington, 98001. Please fax written comments to attention Sean Campbell, City Clerk, at 253-804-3116. Or email written comments to publiccomment@auburnwa.gov. If an individual requires an accommodation to allow for remote oral comment because of a difficulty attending a meeting of the governing body, the city requests notice of the need for accommodation by 5 p.m. on the day of the scheduled meeting. Participants can request an accommodation to be able to provide remote oral comment by contacting the city clerk's office in person, by phone at 253-931-3039, or email to publiccomment@auburnwa.gov. Hannah, I don't believe we had any written comment or any remote comment requests this evening. All right, we will open it up to public comment in person. When you come forward, please give your name and address for the record, and we do limit comments to 3 minutes, and there will be a countdown clock that you can see right in front of Hannah. Is there anyone that would like to speak this evening? Please come forward to the podium, give your name and address for the record.
Hello, I'm Carly Willis, 1809 Howard Road. That's where my business is located. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. I own Antique Marketplace, which is the anchor store in a strip off of Auburn Way South and M Street at the base of Muckleshoot Hill. I've never done anything like this. As a business owner, our time is so valuable, and I've never made time to be at a city council meeting. But the fact is, if something isn't done about the crime and violence we as business owners of Auburn are facing, we won't have businesses much longer. It feels as though Auburn, particularly South Auburn, although I cannot speak for everyone, is under attack, and it's become the Wild West, as every man for himself. We are forced to defend ourselves and our businesses however we can these days. I recently put a gate over my front doors, which is something I never wanted to do, nor did my landlord care for. At this point, we have no other choice. We have to protect our stores. I have 100 vendors who rely on me to protect their merchandise and make sure it's safe during business hours and otherwise. Every night, I hope and pray I won't receive a call from my security company telling me of yet another break-in. At this point, I'm just thankful if it's a little bit of broken glass, but we as business owners cannot continue paying for broken glass and whatever other damage has been caused by this complete and utter disregard for the law. In a 10-day strip in March, my strip experienced 2 armed robberies, one of which occurred while children were being let out of their dance class a couple doors down. My door was smashed open, a piece of furniture was stolen, my neighboring business's window was broken open by the same outfit who broke into my store, and items were stolen from the dance academy, who is next door to me, while classes were being held once again for children. In February, in addition to our typical petty theft, which occurs daily, we had a repeat shoplifter. This time I was ready for him, and a week after the initial incident, he came back. We called 911 as instructed to do so, but police were busy with another call. When he left the store, I followed him on foot for approximately a mile until police were able to intercept. I've witnessed a fentanyl druggie bent over and stuck in this position for a long time in my parking lot. I've seen prostitution 2 cars away while I ate my lunch in the parking lot. 2 murders have occurred in our parking lot that I know of, not to mention what seems to be the weekly robberies of the Walgreens that we share space with. We need action from the elected officials to do something. Ordinances regarding loitering and homelessness can be put in place by the city. Can any other ordinance be put in place to protect us? We need more police presence. Please hire more police. We need more patrols. We need. I know, it's a lot, but we need it. I asked for consistent patrols of the parking lot in front of my business as well as behind the building. I'd love a substation to be put in place for South Auburn. We deserve to be protected as well as Main Street. That's it.
Anyone else that would like to speak? Please come forward, give your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Ron Bruns. The address that I'm going to be talking about is the same address, 1811 Howard Road, Auburn. Council, mayor, staff, junior council, guests, everybody here, we're all neighbors. I grew up in Auburn, born and raised here, went to school. I've since moved away in my adult years, but I've had brick and mortar retail businesses here. The business that I own in that parking lot is a smoke shop, just typical vape tobacco shop. We have that same cookie cutter business in 7 other cities around King and Snohomish County. You know, kind of just going back to, you know, what she was just saying, I don't expect any miracles. I know you guys are in a hard place, you know, so really what I ask is that anything you guys can do, anytime this comes across your desk, when there's a decision to be made, when the discussion comes up, just try to remember our face, because, you know, I understand it's not just this particular parking lot. It's not just that particular neighborhood. It's all over like that in Auburn right now. It's all over like that in most of the cities. So like I'm coming from this in a realistic point of view, and me and my co-owners over here, we have pretty tough skin for this. You know, we kind of look at our stores as, it's kind of like any other convenience store type store. They're going to deal with, unfortunately, all these crimes. What's really got us worried is the serious violent crimes. You know, like just in the last 6 months, every one of the businesses, which this is as big as Rite Aid or Walgreens or whichever one it is, down to as small as the little laundromat on the corner. Every one has been robbed at gunpoint and knife point, you know, to the point where it's hitting us at so many different angles. We've kind of reverted our tactic as far as staffing to former military, former security guards, because everybody else is terrified, you know, rightly so, when you kind of just see how casual it is, you know. And again, I know I'm preaching to the choir. You know, I know it's hard on all sides right now. So just kind of going back what she was saying, I don't expect any miracle. We're really realistic. I just ask that you just remember me, remember us, anytime this comes across your desk, and anything you guys can do to help. I sincerely ask for your help. You know, so I'm going to yield my time. Thank you guys very much for hearing me out.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, please. You'll be next.
Did I jump the gun? I'm Laura Farmer, property manager for the same property that we're all discussing here, 1811, 1809 Howard Road. Ditto everything everyone says. As a property manager, I've made vast use of the 911 services. I call them almost every time I'm at the shopping center for one reason or another, whether it's loitering, trespassing, somebody laying on the ground. I rarely have to deal with the break-in part of it because I usually get the call after the fact when they want to look at video. My biggest desire with this community, and I manage 25 shopping centers, I'm experiencing the same thing at all of them. It's not unique to Auburn. The other thing that's not unique is the responders' ability to effectively uphold the law. I'm well aware the laws are in place to trespass an individual. I have trespass agreements filed with every city and county in the state of Washington. But the constant inability to uphold the law is the tragic part of it. So many of these things could be circumvented if the responding officer could actually, oh, you were trespassed? Now you are breaking the law, and now you will be arrested. I get that they get out in 45 minutes, but if the law could be upheld, I really firmly believe it would reduce the number of incidents exponentially. We do whatever we can as landlords, but everyone's hands are kind of tied if we can't enforce the laws. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Carrington, and I own Auburn Dance Academy, also in 1811 Howard Road. My problem is that I deal with children, and it's becoming not a safe place for children to be. And it's very visible, whereas we had businesses that were completely open. Now I'm in a complex where we've got gates everywhere, and that doesn't look good. That doesn't look like a place where you want to drop off your child because it's safe to drop them off, especially when I'm dealing with 3-year-olds. I have dealt with, we've had a man masturbate in front of our front window. We've had a man drop his pants repeatedly. We called the cops repeatedly on him. He has been trespassed from the property. I don't know how many times. We call 911 on the daily 4 or 5 times a day. We have had to stop parents and children from coming in or leaving because we have had drug abuse literally sit down right in front of my door, put the tourniquet on, and shoot up. And we had to wait for the police to come to remove him so that we could let the children out because we didn't want the children to see what was happening. It's not okay. It's not safe. We're now into armed robberies, knife point. What happens when somebody decides to pull the trigger? What happens to these kids? The walls aren't thick. Like, who knows what can happen? It's not safe. And we need to do something. And I know that every time we call the police, they tell us, you know, keep calling, keep calling, keep calling. I do. Most of the time when I call 911, they don't even have to ask me for my phone number once they hear my name. They just say, are you at 206? And they repeat my number. I'm like, yes, that's me. Great, we'll have the officer call you. I'm upset because I've been here in Auburn for 25 years. I have never seen it this bad before, but it's bad. The parents are upset. I have parents like asking me literally the other night when the vape shop was robbed, you know, is it safe for me to bring my children back? Should I just take them home right now? Well, we couldn't. We were blocked in by all the cop cars. But you know what I mean? It's not a good look, and we need something done. We need something done. So I'm asking you to please send help to that area. Please help the children so that they are safe, because that's what I'm trying to do, is provide a safe place for them.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, please come forward. Name and address for the record.
My name is Scott Wolcott, 1811 Howard Road. I've been hired actually by Jennifer Carrington to sit at the front desk at Auburn Dance Academy. Just want to say a couple things. I was actually at the front desk when a man was laying down, shooting up drugs. We called 911. Officer actually was able to get there and take a picture of the person while he was still laying down, trying to inject drugs. I was there the other day when the smoke shop was held at gunpoint. One of our parents actually was sitting in her car in front of the smoke shop, and the people had no regard for her whatsoever. Just this last Thursday and Saturday, I chased off somebody doing drugs, pulling out drugs right next to the pillar of this antique store, just lighting up and doing drugs. I have no problem doing that. I have family that are involved with law enforcement, both my wife and my niece. I know that they are severely shorthanded, and due to Washington state laws, they can't do a lot with open drug use, but I know the city council can do something about open drug use within the city. So hopefully we can do some sort of, to ban open drug use in the city. There should be no reason why children, 5, 6 years old, I should have to walk them out. I have parents that I sit at that door Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, from 4 o'clock till the business closes, walking parents out. I know the people in the area, the homeless people. I see them all the time. So I see them, they go through, they follow the parents out. Mom walking her 7-year-old out to the car, they'll follow them to try and get money from them. I've chased them off. I walk all the kids out, make sure they get out to the cars safely, make sure the parents get in there. I, again, have stopped parents from going out because there's people coming. Just this last Wednesday, my wife and I counted actually 12 extra people. 12 people that we did not recognize. And that is how bad it is in this area. I know all the regulars. I know what they're doing. I have been there when the man dropped his pants. I have been there. We called the police. You know, they escorted him off the premises. It has to change. I mean, Walgreens has been held up gunpoint twice. I think the smoke shop has been armed robbery twice. Our facility, or the Auburn Dance Academy, was 10 minutes before I got there. Somebody came in and took something from there. It has to change. My daughter's been dancing there for 9 years now. There's kids that have been dancing there all their life. It's never been this bad. Something has to go. Something has to give. Again, I understand police are vastly understaffed and there's not a lot they can do, but something has to change.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Come forward, give your name and address for the record.
Hello again, my name is Waylon. My address is 2 East Main Street, Unit 316, Auburn, Washington. Shifting the tone a little bit, I want to say thank you to the city because on Friday, for many people within the LGBTQ community was a very special day. It was Trans Day of Visibility. I myself do not identify as trans, but many of my siblings, friends, closest relatives do. And the first thing I saw when I opened up my social media, like a lot of young people do, was a post from the city of Auburn saying that trans rights are human rights. And I can't express how important that is, that we share, that they belong here, they belong with us, because our trans siblings are our siblings, and they deserve every single protection we can give them. And right now is a really difficult time for people within the LGBTQ community, and especially trans folks, because they're being blamed for things they have no part in. And it breaks my heart to see it every day. I'm in tears every day, not fully able to understand what they're feeling, but being close enough to know what that type of discrimination feels like. So I just want to say thank you for standing up for the people who need it most in the city.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Please come forward, give your name and address for the record.
Virginia Haugen. I'm going to say my address very loud and clear tonight because of this audience that I'm with. 2503 R Street Southeast. I live in your neighborhood. I find needles in my recycle. How nice of people to put them in the recycle and not leave them on the grass. Forever, my neighbors and I have been so happy to have a fire station in our neighborhood. I needed them. 911, I don't know where that lady is. I must have made 400 calls to them. They're wonderful. But I would rather have a police station in my neighborhood than a fire station. The firemen are terrific. They're there when we need them. But I go to this address that they keep giving, and I roll up my windows and I lock the door because I know what it's like down there. It's awful. I see the same guy laying in front of the building every time I go down there. So I go to Fulmer Field one night. I'm at a softball game or something. I'm watching the kids play. And the police come and arrest a woman who is doing nothing wrong. She hasn't done anything wrong. They leave all her belongings in the park. I take them home, and thank God for somebody at City Hall who made sure that the lady got her stuff back. In the meantime, these people are getting robbed. It's trespass. It's sex and drugs all over their parking lot. It's awful. And it's awful because we don't have enough cops. And I listen to some people vote yes for somebody to serve on a salary commission. Excuse me, is that what we're about? Are we about giving the council and the mayor more money so we can't have enough police officers? Let's get some cops out there on the street. Now, I took my nice pills tonight before I came down here because I wanted to say thank you to code enforcement, to the mayor. I wanted to thank you for the daffodils that I look forward to every year. When my neighbors have an issue and we get in touch with code enforcement within days, we call the mayor, call code enforcement, the police work with them, and we get our issues taken care of. These people don't.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right. So for those of you who are in that complex, we do have our acting chief here this evening, and I am going to ask that you talk with him out in the hallway if you would like to, out in the lobby, but I just want to let you know a few things first. First of all, I grew up in that neighborhood as well. I grew up by Game Farm Park. My parents, my mom and my brother still live there. I was there when it was Fisher's A&P grocery store and Wigwam and Brad's, right, the buffet. So I am very aware of that neighborhood. I loved going there, still do go into your beautiful antique store. Some of you mentioned hiring more police. If you know anybody that is interested in being a police officer, send them our way. We have openings. We would love to hire more police officers. We have lost officers in the last 3 years, and you probably all are aware of that. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. But there are some laws that were enacted in this state at the state legislature level that have made it incredibly difficult for police to do exactly what you need them to do. There are no drug laws, in essence, in this state right now. We have a paraphernalia law, but it's also a challenge to get judges to do anything about that. So we do our very best. We try and ride that line as closely as we possibly can, but we can't create drug laws in our state, in our city, that aren't in line with the state laws. We can't. We have had lots of conversations about it, what we can do, what we can't do, what is civilly allowed, what judges will even do anything about. We do not control the judges. We don't control it when they don't hold people in jail for drug laws that we can do something about, or trespassing that we sometimes can do something about. A judge will let somebody out within 24 hours. We know that if we can hold them in that jail for 30 days, they can get treatment. At the SCORE jail, there are treatment opportunities available. There's housing. There are all types of services available. We have toured the judges through the SCORE jail so they understand what is possible. They're not necessarily doing that. Our officers would love to engage and to arrest for arrestable offenses. You spoke with passion tonight. I understand. What I'm going to do, if you don't mind, because this is a public meeting, I am going to take the video from your comments this evening, and I'm going to send it to all of our legislators that represent the 30th, the 31st, and the 47th. They are the ones that can make a difference in the police, what policing looks like in this state, and what drug laws look like in this state. There is a bill right now about drug use because at the end of July or the beginning of July, the drug law that is in effect would sunset. There are legislators who want to make all drugs legal in this state. All drugs. Now, we had some friendly legislators who were willing not to make it a felony again. I think those days are gone in this state. But they were going to make it a gross misdemeanor. That went through one chamber, and now it's over in the House. And that law has been butchered. It's now down to a simple misdemeanor. Gross misdemeanor means we could have held them for 30 days. A simple misdemeanor means 72 hours. We need your voices to be heard with the state legislators. If you can be as passionate with them as you are with us. They hear me all the time. They get really tired of hearing from me. We need to hear from the people who this is actually happening to. But I am going to ask Jonathan to get me an edited or the portion of public comment tonight, and we are going to send it to all 9 of our legislators in the 30th, the 31st, and the 47th. And I am so sorry. This is not the city that I love, not the city that I grew up in, not the shopping complex that I used to go to. I've seen people shoot up outside my window. It's not okay. People deserve better than that. You deserve better than that, and the people who are actually doing the drugs deserve better than what they're doing. But I would love to have Commander Adams talk with you out in the hallway if you are interested in that, to see if there's anything possible that you can do or that we can do that we haven't done yet. And I do thank you for being here this evening. I know this takes time away from your jobs or time away from your family at the end of a long day. Thank you. All right, we will move on to Council Ad Hoc Committee reports. Council Ad Hoc Committee chairs may report on the status of their ad hoc council committee's progress on assigned tasks and may give their recommendation to the City Council, if any. First is Finance Ad Hoc Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. The Council Ad Hoc Finance Committee, consisting of Councilmember Robert Baggett and myself, reviewed 2 sets of claims vouchers. For those dated March 20th, 2023, we reviewed 166 pages of claims vouchers, including 2 wire transfers, totaling approximately $5.62 million. For those dated April 3rd, 2023, we reviewed 25 pages of claims vouchers, including 3 wire transfers, totaling approximately $5.56 million. The committee also reviewed 2 sets of payroll vouchers for the period covering March 2nd, 2023 to March 15th, 2023, totaling approximately $2.65 million, and for the period covering March 16th to March 29th, totaling approximately $3.17 million. All questions, and there were a few, presented by the committee for the Finance Department were answered to the committee's satisfaction, and upon completion of our review, the committee recommends that council approve the vouchers.
Thank you. And our second ad hoc committee is Mayoral Benefits and Leave Compensation Review, and that is also chaired by Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. The committee last met on March 22nd, and we were able to finalize the recommendations and work on the presentation that will be presented back to council. And I believe we're at the stage where we will be working to get that added to the agenda. You should be hearing from Deputy Mayor for scheduling on that.
Okay,
and that is all.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered by the City Council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. Is there a motion? Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Baggett.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Trout-Manuel.
Yes, I would like us to accept the minutes of March 6, 2023, regular city council meeting, minutes of March 13, 2023, study session meeting, minutes of March 20th, 2023, special city council meeting. Also the claim and the payroll vouchers as Councilwoman Baldwin read.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor of the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 All opposed, please say no. Consent agenda passes. We have no unfinished business and no new business that I have been made aware of. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution number 5704, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a utility easement on city property in favor of Puget Sound Energy. Is there a motion? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to submit for consideration of the council that we adopt resolution number 5704.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Trout Manuel.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. Resolution number 5704 creates an easement and allows Puget Sound Energy legal access to work within the easement area and defines the roles and responsibilities of the city and Puget Sound Energy.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution number 5704, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Resolution 5704 passes. Resolution number 5705, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a capital grant agreement with King County, Washington for Parks Capital and Open Space Program funds and to appropriate and expend the grant funds. Is there a motion? Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adopt resolution number 5705.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Malinga.
I'll second that, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. King County has granted the city with $234,925 from the Parks Capital and Open Space Program for amenities at Cedar Lanes Park. These amenities would include a new restroom, picnic shelter, bicycle storage building, and parking and pathway improvements. City matching funds from park impact fees are $338,000. And so this will implement several construction projects at Cedar Lanes Park.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution number 5705, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Resolution number 5705 passes. Resolution number 5708, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute and allocate agreement and participation forms related to opioid pharmacy and manufacturer settlements. Is there a motion? Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to move adoption of resolution number 5708.
Thank you. Is there a second? Councilmember Malinga, sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to second that motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state of Washington recently negotiated settlement agreements with several pharmaceutical and manufacturing companies that played a role in creating the opioid crisis. The settlements reserve a portion of the funds for local government to deal with that problem. To receive the funds from the settlement, the city must sign participation forms with each of the pharmaceutical and manufacturing companies, as well as enter into an allocation agreement with the state. The city's portion of the settlement funds will be allocated over 15 years and must be used to remediate, abate the opioid pandemic.
Timely motion for this evening. Is there any question or comment?
I would further comment exactly what you said. Part of the causation of the issues that we're dealing with in terms of crime in our city have to do with drug addiction And much of that has been driven over the so-called legal drug use. And so I encourage the council to support this.
Thank you. Questions or comments from council? All those in favor of resolution number 5708, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Resolution number 5708 passes. Resolution number 5709, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute the aquatic easements from the Washington Department of Natural Resources for the Lee Hill Bridge and associated city-owned utilities. Is there a motion? Councilmember Trout Manuel.
I'd like to make the motion of resolution, to approve resolution 5709.
Thank you. Is there a second? I'm going to go with Councilmember Rakes. Thank you. Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Okay. The resolution authorizes the mayor to execute easement with the Washington Department of Natural Resources for the Lee Hill Bridge and associated city-owned utility that are required for the city to be able to perform ongoing maintenance and repairs on the bridge and the utilities.
Thank you. Questions or comments? All those in favor of resolution number 5709, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no. Resolution 5709 passes. All right, that is the end of the business portion of the meeting. We will move to mayor and council member reports. At this time, the mayor and city council may report on significant items associated with their appointed positions on federal, state, regional, and local organizations. We will begin with Councilmember Trout Manuel.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a little bit of report is on the National Leagues of City. It was a very well-attended conference. This was the largest one that we have had in many years, and went to a lot of workshops, and one of them that I really appreciated most was the Human Development Committee that I belong to, and Councilmember Baldwin was there present, and I have to say, for her being there for the first time, she spoke out very loud on some issues that she heard and was concerned, and they want to recruit her to be part of this group now. Also, we heard from Alejandra Castillo, Assistant Secretary, Economic Development Administration. She was talking about the programs and the fundings that are available for the schools, and they talked about the CTE program, and I was able to stand up and talk about myself being on that board and what we're doing in Auburn. She later said she wanted to sit down and talk with me, and she gave me her card. So we're going to set up a meeting with the board, the CTE board from Auburn, and hopefully we could get the school board, someone from the school board to be present, also to talk to her about some of the items and issues that she wants to talk to our schools, the fundings that are available as well. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And that is my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Malinga.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also attended the NLC conference, and one of the workshops that I was able to attend, among others, was incorporating racial equity frameworks into municipal bonds. I was very encouraged at this because they were talking about setting measures, setting budgets for the equity work. They talked about gathering data, making sure we report back to the public on the work that we're doing, and setting long-term and short-term goals to hold all of us accountable to that work. And I felt that with the racial equity work that we were already doing with the training and the consultants that we have working with us, we really were one of the cities that were at the front of this effort. So I really appreciate that about Auburn. And thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Councilmember Rakes.
I did not attend it.
You did not.
But thank you. But I did attend the Main Street Conference in Boston, and I will have to say that for the first time, 35% of municipality were there. And I was very proud that Auburn sent somebody from the Economic Development Department. I think it was very worthwhile.
Thank you. Councilmember Baggett.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also attended the NLC conference this year, and along with more than 3,000 other people from around the nation, representatives from other cities like mayors, council members, and the like. I also attended several of the meetings that they offered in the sessions. Also suggested some items that we brought back relative to our downtown as cooperative, and hopefully they will be able to use some of that material as reference materials for what to do with our beautiful downtown. Anyway, many of the people that were in attendance there were greeted in the general sessions by the mayor of Tacoma, who is the president of NLC, and we had a surprise visit from the First Lady, Jill Biden, and that was very inspirational. And I'm sure that her message, along with that of the president of NLC, was inspiring for all of us. So it was well attended and very interesting from my standpoint, because I'm going to be the short timer on the list here, one of them, and I wanted to take back and bring back as much as I could from the nation, from the federal government. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I'll also say I attended the National League of Cities Conference, and I just want to thank my fellow council members that were able to be there, and the mayor. It's quite a team, I will tell you, coordinating the various breakout rooms and figuring out how we can cover as much territory as possible. But the dedication of my fellow council members to getting the work done there at the conference, I was just very impressed. And so thank you to my fellow council members, and thank you to the city for sending me, because it was my first one. And I was a lot of good policy work that could be done there, from green energy to equity to all of the needs that cities have, policing, all sorts of issues that we need to figure out. And so thanks to the city for sending us.
Thank you. Councilmember Baldwin.
Thank you, Mayor. I would echo my other council members that I was also at the National League of Cities Conference, and was really impressed with the amount of resources that are available there for us to be able to learn more about how to not just operate the city, but bring resources back to the city that are available from other organizations, not only from the federal government as being a potential partner, but a lot of other organizations that participate with National League of Cities that are there for partnerships through their programs. And so I just tried to take as many notes as I could, get as many cards as I could, shake as many hands as I could, and I had the great leadership of our mayor and some of our, I don't want to say old pros, but some of our pros here on council.
Seasoned.
Thank you. Who certainly tipped me in the right direction for, as you said, how to make sure that we got the most coverage in our breakout sessions and different events that were taking place. So it was just, came back very energized and very excited. So thanks to the city for making sure that that can happen, and looking forward to how we can put it to work for our community.
Thank you. All right, a few things on Saturday, March 11th. We haven't met for a while, Council, because we missed our last council meeting because of travel. But I did attend, along with Councilmember Brown, the celebration of life for former Green River College President Rich Rutkowski, who lived a very, as his name says, lived a very rich life, one filled with the desire to ensure education is a right and not a privilege for anyone in the community, and he was tireless in his efforts, always supporting and going above and beyond for students throughout this state, but especially at Green River, and also his love of fishing. I think there were some people who were surprised that everybody that was in attendance already knew that he loved fishing, but there were many, many wonderful stories about how Rich has touched so many lives. We will definitely miss him. On the 18th, I attended, I can't believe you didn't talk about this, the Auburn Noon Lions Club auction. It was well attended. I believe we had a quorum of council there that had been announced publicly that there would be a quorum, but always a wonderful event filled with good people, a good opportunity to mingle. And I also attended the National League of Cities, and to follow up on something that Councilmember Baggett said, talking about First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. Her comments were around community college and the opportunity for job creation, and that just speaks volumes to what we have in the city of Auburn. You know, I think sometimes people take for granted Green River College because it is in our backyard, but not every city has the good fortune to have a community college that will create jobs, that will allow students to get their basic education out of the way at a very reasonable price, and to stay close to home. And I am just forever grateful and proud to be an alum of Green River. It was Green River Community College at the time, but always very proud to say I am a Gator, and look forward to more goodness from Green River. Then after we returned on Thursday the 30th, attended the Housing Develop Consortium's 35th anniversary celebration up in Seattle, along with Councilmember Brown. And always great work that's being done by HDC to ensure affordable housing in our region. And then that evening, went to the Spotlight Business Awards Gala by the Auburn Area Chamber of Commerce. Just quickly, I know we're going long tonight, but I do want to acknowledge the winners of the awards. The Connect Achieve Award is Trillium Employment Services. The Champion for Change Award is Orion Industries. The Trailblazer Award is Return Home. Thrive Award is Revive and Revitalize. The Connect Award is Considerate Contracting and Design for Joy Hour. The Change Award went to Verity Credit Union. The Rising Star Award went to CAX. The Patriot Award went to Q Missions and Q Actual, Sergeant Q, Aaron Quinones. And then the Connect Impact, the Bill Kyle Award, I had the good fortune to be able to announce this year's winner. Very well deserved. It is Debbie Christian from the Auburn Food Bank. So congratulations to all of those winners. Yes, in our community, doing great things. And then on Saturday, it was opening day for Auburn Little League. Always a good time. It did not rain while we were there. It was threatening to, but it was at Auburn High School. I threw out the first pitch for both baseball and softball. I got the softball over the plate. The baseball, not quite. I'm working on that. And then that evening attended the Compass Housing Alliance fundraiser in Seattle. And as you recall, Compass Housing Alliance is the service provider at our Health Through Housing Hotel. And I was very proud to see that Dawn's Place, which is the name of the facility, was highlighted in a 3-minute video at the event. And so very, very proud. And Auburn was acknowledged as being a city that cares and very welcoming of the work that Compass Housing Alliance is doing. We have no reason that I am aware of for a closed or executive session tonight, so we are adjourned.